Fine, I'll do it myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fine, I'll Do It Myself. Today, we are covering Eternals, Jason. The movie I haven't seen.
Well, now you have.
Now I have. I saw it now. And we are joined by a very special guest. You may know him from things on the internet, mostly podcasts. Mostly Cobra Y, his famous Karate Kid podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, one half of the Squid Boys, Shawn _AFK. Hi, Shawn.
Hi, I'm still waiting for you to do Cobra Y with me. I'm gonna get you to do it eventually.
Well, Cobra, why would I do it, Shawn? That doesn't make any sense.
Because it would be great content.
So before we get into the Eternal, Shawn, I have to ask you a question. I have to ask you a question. We gave you the pick of the litter. We said, hey, pick any Marvel movie to come on for Fine, I'll Do It Myself with us. And you picked the Eternals. Without getting too into it, why?
I
Cobra
love
Y.
this movie a lot. Cobra Y. I love this movie a lot. I don't think it's like one of the best movies, but it's one of my favorites in the MCU. And I knew that Jason wasn't a huge fan, and I had a feeling that Mike probably wouldn't enjoy it that much. And so I kind of felt like this would be an interesting movie for me to come on and talk about because I have a very different
You felt
opinion.
like it was your duty.
It was I don't know about duty, but I felt like that would be more
Celestial
interesting.
was telling you had to come defend this movie on this podcast.
I was speaking with Arisham before when I made this decision, but I felt this would be more interesting a discussion than if I came on for like The Winter Soldier or whatever, and we were just like, "This is a great movie, guys."
Right?
You know?
Yeah. Then all three of us are just like, "Wow, this movie's awesome," and then there's silence.
Yeah, exactly. And then we just like,
So,
what do we do for the next 50 minutes?
To set the stage here, Jason, not a fan of this movie. He originally here actually let's listen to what Jason had to say about it. Blue, 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 blue. All right, this one's completely on you. I've never seen Eternals.
Eternals?
Never seen it.
Eternals is pretty good. My main complaints with the movie is the finale. Okay, do you want me to like semi-spoil it or no?
I don't care.
So my main complaint is that the fucking deviant bad guy at the end, what the fuck is he doing in the finale? Like, it's one of these things where it's like, okay, he knows what's going on, but yet he's still making the wrong decision type thing. It feels like very slapped on. It feels fucking weird. That whole entire plot is fucked. I do like the twist with it, and a lot of the characters are very cool. I feel like they chose to focus on the wrong ones, though. Like, the characters that I thought were cool, like the Speedster, she's super fucking cool. And how they do the Speedster stuff in that movie is some of my favorite Speedster stuff, period. Like, compared to any other Speedster stuff. I really hate how much they focus on like the love story in the movie, because I don't really fucking care, because it's like supposed to be about all of them, not just these two random ones. Like, I get you have to make like a main protagonist and shit, but it's kind of weird. I would overall say I'd say it's bottom of B.
So behind Spider-Man?
Behind Spider-Man.
Eternals, we'll see how I feel about it, and we'll see how you feel about Falcon.
I honestly might want to bump Eternals down. I don't know.
Really? I was going to say, I'm guessing that's going to move up, but...
No, I think I might want to, dude.
What, you want to move it down right
now? Yeah, move it down, dude. Move it down to top of C.
In front of Black Widow.
Yeah, like it's still technically in the same spot, but... I don't know, bro.
No, it's not. That's not the same spot.
It's like kind of...
It is in the order, but as far as C is C, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what Jason had to say. I didn't really have much to say because I hadn't seen the movie. But Jason, you had a specific reading of that movie. You've watched it again recently. Do you still feel the same way as you felt then?
Well, like, obviously, like, because when we did that, I only saw Eternals in theaters once because I wasn't a huge fan. It wasn't something where I felt like, I gotta see this in theater again. Which me seeing a movie more than once in theaters, like, just rare in general. I've only done it with a handful of movies, but part of why I didn't like it was like confusion, because they don't do a great job of explaining things, and yeah, I still agree with pretty much everything I said.
Okay.
But yeah.
So to set the scene, like I was going to do, Jason, not a huge fan. Me, I hadn't seen it until yesterday night, and Shawn, fan of the movie. So we're kind of in every level here. I'm not going to tell you guys immediately what I think about it. It's to be revealed.
Ooh.
Oh shit!
Now we're doing things out of order. So now we're watching the trailer. Haha.
5 years ago, Thanos erased half of the population of the universe. But the people of this planet brought everyone back with a snap of a finger. The sudden return of the population provided the necessary energy for the emergence to begin.
How long do we have?
7 days.
We're Eternals. We came here 7,000 years ago to protect humans from the deviants.
Why didn't you guys help fight Thanos? Or any war, all the other terrible things throughout history?
We were instructed not to interfere in any human conflicts unless deviants are involved.
By who?
We need to find the others.
I haven't seen some of them for centuries.
Hi.
Hello.
If this is what the end of the world looks like, at least we have front row seats.
You know what's never saved the planet? Your sarcasm.
We have loved these people since the day we arrived. When you love something, you protect it.
You can't protect. Any of them.
I bet you've built the perfect safe house. I mean, what's this even made of? Vibranium?
Fall collection. IKEA.
Okay, that was the trailer. Cool. Anyway, I do that every time when Jason gets mad at me. Why are you not excited about the trailer? Because we don't actually watch it in the moment. That's why. I thought the trailer was good.
I watched it before we started.
Yeah, I watched it before I watched it last night. And I remember watching the trailer. Part of the reason I didn't see it in theaters is because I remember watching the trailer when it was like before the movie was out and being like, this has not piqued my interest whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I still intended on seeing it, but it just didn't work out, right? I was busy, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some stuff from this movie. First of all, the stats. We got to do stats on the movie. This is what all movie podcasts do, Shawn. I'm sure you know this.
Of course.
This movie had an estimated budget of $200 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So double that for marketing.
Yeah. and an opening weekend of $71 million.
Ooh.
But
yeah,
it managed to gross worldwide $402 million. So it made its at least its filming budget back plus double, you know. Not plus double, but double.
So this really did not make much money.
No,
it didn't. I want to say it kind of released. I mean, it came out in November of last year. It only came out in November. Man, there was like no time
feels
between
like
this
so
and
long
Spider-Man.
ago.
Right.
That's crazy. But how much did Shang-Chi make?
Oh,
Like, I guess this is
infinitely more than this, and had a much smaller budget, I think. God,
Yeah,
Sean's really
I'm
gonna
just.
make me look, isn't he? All right, here we go.
It made. I'm looking at least on Wikipedia. It says that Shang-Chi made $432 million with a smaller budget. So I'm not trying to say anything like comparatively, but I think the point is these pandemic era movies, with Spider-Man being an exception,
Yeah.
kind of having a lower box office isn't as much of an indicator as, say, if you're looking at an Iron Man. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what about its Rotten Tomatoes, huh? Should we look at that?
That's
'Cause
different.
That's a different
But-
indicator.
That is.
And I should have had this pulled up already, and I don't. Tomato meter, 47% from critics.
Man, I feel like that's dropped. I feel like it
it
wasn't
has.
that low.
It was in the 60s.
Yeah, that's wow. That dropped
Audience
a lot.
score 78 though.
Yeah, but 78 is
It's a
pretty
Marvel
low
movie.
for a Marvel movie. That's pretty low.
Yeah, I think I read
You're
it's
like guaranteed a 70 at least.
Yeah.
It's like the lowest Marvel movie that's not Thor: The Dark World. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I would expect that for sure.
I mean, like I said, I don't think it's the best movie, and especially watching it again this time, I think that like not being, because I saw the movie twice in theaters. I saw it once normally, and I saw it the second time in IMAX. And the visual of sitting in a movie theater and watching this movie for me really blew me away. I think this movie looked incredible on the big screen,
It
especially
looks
in
really
IMAX.
well, yeah.
And then I watched it again on my shitty laptop screen last night. And I think some of the issues narratively came through a little bit more for me on this watch through.
You weren't as wowed by
But
it.
I wasn't as wowed. Well,
Every
yes,
movie is
some
going
of
to be
the-
better in the theater.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, some of the issues came across a little bit more, and I was like, okay, this is this. But I do think this is still one of my favorite Marvel movies.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Normally we do trivia stolen from IMDb, or shitty IMDb trivia, as I like to call it. But the trivia on this movie is so boring and bad, I didn't pull anything from it.
yeah.
Like, I don't know what IMDb users are doing. There's a lot of it. It's just like repetitive and not cool, and just like, oh, the director thought this was cool. Like, that's not a fact. That's not trivia. That's just saying a thing. I do think the stuff with Lauren Ridloff is really interesting. She's actually deaf, and the stuff
The
where
actress from
Angelina
Macari.
Jolie had to like use a laser pointer to point for her where she should be looking, when it was like a digital thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's really cool and kind of heartwarming that Angelina Jolie was like, "Yo, I got you. Here's a laser pointer."
Yeah. Yeah.
This is quite the ensemble movie, right?
Yeah.
They focus
Oh my
on a
God, yeah.
couple different characters, but it's quite the ensemble movie. I will say, I'll be the first to say, I enjoy this ensemble.
Yes.
It's not Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think they did a good job of giving everybody kind of their screen time. To Jason's point that he originally made, I don't know that they focused on the most interesting of the characters.
Yeah.
And one thing I kind of have a nitpick with is like these, the twist is that these are designed beings to take down the deviants, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Some of them are so ill-equipped to take down these deviants with their powers,
Right.
that it's insane. What Ajak as the leader,
Yeah.
she can heal people, and that's great. But get her alone, like they did in the movie, she's done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the comics, they're all supposed to be OP, but
Right.
like they nerfed them in the movie.
I think the idea is that they're meant to operate as a team. Like, I
Right.
think
Oh,
if
for
you
sure.
threw the team of the Eternals, like all of them together, all what, like 8 or whatever,
10.
however many there are. 10? Are there 10? Yeah. all 10 of them, I could name them all. If you threw all 10 of them against like the Avengers, I think the Eternals would win. Like
Absolutely
I think the point
not.
is you keep them. You don't think so? You don't think the Eternals, like watching them fight?
Hulk
in the
literally
past,
solos the entire Eternals team. Maybe
I don't think so.
the only way that you tell me that Hulk doesn't just solo all of them is like some Sprite shit.
Yeah, but they're
and-
fighting as a team. So yeah,
Right.
Sprite does some shit.
Right.
Boom.
But it's like that doesn't work forever. And then like you could say like, okay, Gilgamesh maybe can hold him off a little bit because he's got fucking like cosmic energy or whatever. But like, I don't know, dude.
Okay,
Absolutely not.
Let me tell you guys. I want to tell you guys what I think of each Eternal.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, Gilgamesh, fucking
Giga
pog,
Chad.
dude. Fucking
Giga
Love
Chad.
Gilgamesh is fucking dope, dude. I love a character that just has like a fucking strong punch, dude.
Yeah.
Just winds up and he just keeps punching animals in the
And
face.
the animations are really good. Like you
Right.
can feel the weight
Yeah.
of them. I remember in theater, like when you get that like boom in the fucking theater, dude. That shit was good.
When he knocks out Thena. Oh
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
just-
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
Woo.
He just drops her ass.
Yeah, the domestic violence, you know.
Yeah.
Oh well. I mean, she's trying to kill him. I mean,
Makari,
She's fine.
pog as fuck, dude.
Literally
Makari-
my favorite.
the
Literally my favorite.
The way they handle the speed stuff, instead of doing what the new trend is like, oh, you're seeing it from their perspective where everything is slowed down. They just made her fast as fuck. And to
Yeah.
me, she's like one of the most effective Eternals. Like
she's
wi-
awesome.
Without
she's
her, they are
strong.
in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Druid.
Again, I think that's kind of the point.
Right. Druid. I like Druid actually.
I actually really like Druid.
love
Yeah.
I hated
I love
Druid
Druid.
at first, and I thought I do actually like the twist of, you know, they kind of hint early on like Druid is not going to be an ally, right?
Yeah.
Like when they go back to it wasn't
He's the holdout character.
right. I was like, oh, he's gonna be the guy that causes, like, he's the main antagonist, and they kind of fool you on that. But I like Druid. I do think he's completely ineffective against the deviants.
Yeah.
Like
he's
incredibly
more,
ineffective.
He's essentially the Men in Black stare into the laser.
Right. That's like his
Yeah.
job, but he can't even do it against deviants. So it's like,
No.
what is he doing there?
Yeah.
Sprite, terrible character. Hate
Dog
Sprite.
shit.
Sprite's awful.
I love
Terribly
Sprite.
written.
So, okay, here's the thing about Sprite that bothers me. Sprite is just as old as all of them, correct?
Mhm.
Sprite
Yeah.
is, they're equal. Yes, she looks as if she is a child. I get that.
Mhm.
She's played by a child in real life. I get that.
Mhm.
That does not excuse her from acting like a complete child
Yeah.
and going,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go with Icarus because I like him. Like, that is like, you think she'd have some
literally
kind
have-
of wisdom over all this time.
I literally have notes written down for this because I was like, I don't want to forget this type of shit. There's only 2 scenes that I like with Sprite in them. And I think she actively makes other scenes worse. Like, especially when she has dialogue. I think she's terribly written. Number 1 is the Peter Pan scene with Kingo. I think that's actually pretty well done.
Yeah.
I like that
And
scene a
actually
lot.
like humanizes her character.
Actually, I just remembered some IMDb trivia that I didn't write down, but it was actually kind of good. In the comics, Peter Pan is based off Sprite.
Okay, that makes
Sprite's
sense.
a boy in
I
the
like
comic.
that
in
scene.
the comics. Yeah.
And then the other scene that I like is when fucking Druid knocks her fucking ass out, dude. That shit is the best fucking scene in the movie, dude.
See,
I fucking love that scene. She stabs her friend who she's known for 7,000 years and has been living with for ages because I don't want to be a kid anymore. Or I don't want to remember. Also, I like this guy. And then fucking gets fucking knocked the fuck out by Druid, dude. Let's fucking go.
I see. I don't like that because I think that is what everybody on Twitter complains about when they say that Marvel is afraid of serious moments, which I don't buy into that idea. But that is the exact of having a very serious speech from Sprite, and then Druid just comes up behind her, knocks her out, and is like, "Oh, that was funny, wasn't it?" Like, that's kind of undercutting. I really like Sprite. I think Sprite's turn makes sense, especially since she has such a detachment from humanity from this idea that nobody sees her as being her age and nobody ever
Right.
forms connections with her. I think it's not out of the realm of possibility that if she has such a connection with Icarus, she would value that over
but my thing
this
is,
race of people.
But
that
she doesn't.
Are,
yeah, that's the thing, Sean, is I don't think
She's
they do a good
terribly
job
written.
selling that relationship with Icarus,
I
other
don't
than
hate the-
one scene that Jason described where Kingo goes, "Oh, so you like Icarus, huh?" Like,
I don't disagree with that. I would say I think a lot of people would say that this movie should have been like a limited series, and I think I don't know if you needed to add another 3.5 hours to this movie, but another 20 or 30 minutes might have helped a lot because there was a lot of characters. I think it's easily Marvel's most ambitious movie in terms of introducing lots of characters with dynamic relationships with others. But I think from what the movie presents to me, even if I don't think that it's executed in the best way, I think her motivations make sense on paper at least.
I
They
agree
do,
that
and-
that they could make sense. It's just they didn't execute that part of it well. Where
Yeah.
because like
Yeah, I can
to
agree
me,
with that.
Icarus could give two shits about Sprite.
I don't dislike the idea of Sprite, but yeah, the whole fact that it's not about her, like, and they do bring up the point, but it feels, because of everything that was like, they foreshadow it like early, and then they kind of touch on it when Kingo talks to her, but like it very much feels like the last like 4 or 5 bits with her is like that she likes Icarus and that's why she's doing this. It is, it's infinitely worse than her being like, I hate that I can't grow up. I hate these people because I can't be like them and
Right.
everybody else can.
Mhm,
And like,
mhm.
I don't even want to remember this. I don't want to remember that I want to have this. Like, that is so much better than, oh, I have a crush on Icarus and this is supposed to be like Peter Pan. Like,
Well,
that shit's fucking cringe,
And
dude.
us talking about it made me think about like the beginning when Icarus shows up to save Cersei and her from the deviant.
Mhm.
And she's excited to see Icarus, but at the same level, she's just as excited to see almost everybody else they go to see. So, I think if maybe they would have, like, not everybody, obviously, I don't think she's not as excited to see Fastos, which they
Druid,
don't show
oh.
her seeing Fastos or Druig, or you know what I mean.
I don't think anybody was excited to see Druig.
Yeah, no.
Kingo. Druig sucks.
Yeah, dude, that was actually the funniest moment in the movie for me is when Kingo goes,
Yeah.
Druig sucks, in the way that only Kumail Nanjiani can say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he does, sir.
Yeah, I don't think that it's perfect. It's very. I don't think it's very well executed, but I think, like I said, I don't think this is like the best Marvel movie, but there's ideas in here that I can pull out and look at, and I really like the ideas on paper.
Right, for sure. I like this thing that we're doing where I'm running down each of the Eternals here. Fastos, Pog, dude. Fastos
Love
is cool.
Fastos.
Dude, I love Fastos. I wish there would have been more scenes with him building shit. That shit was
Yeah.
so cool.
Well, and
the animations were
maybe
so
a-
good.
Fastos kind of suffers from the thing that happens in RPGs sometimes, where like you're pretty far into the game and then they give you a new party member and you don't get to spend as much time with
Yeah.
them as you wanted.
Yeah.
But you can tell this motherfucker hates Icarus because he's like, he has some shit planned for him. You know what I mean?
Dude.
Like he's been thinking
Yeah.
about this day for a long time.
What
He
did he
has a
say? I've
lot-
been wanting to clip your wings for a while, or whatever.
Yeah,
What did he say?
Yeah.
Oh,
I really like Fastos. My only problem with him is not even his fault. It's just the shit writing of the movie, right? Because like it's an ensemble movie. You know, you have the whole, okay, we got to get the crew together. Everybody has their, reaction to Ajax dying and everything. And then, they go to Druig and Druig is like, oh shit, we might not be able to get Druig to come with us. Like he's the holdout. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And then immediately they have another holdout character. And it just is so fucking boring where it's like, no, I don't want to come. Like, obviously, like the reasons are different, but like, essentially it's like the same type of deal where it's like, I don't like what I'm made for, essentially, right?
I would say
and so
with
it's
that,
boring. It's just shit writing to me.
I would say with that, that's a thing that in reality, that's probably how it would go. But that doesn't mean it
Yeah.
makes it for an interesting scene in a movie.
Well, and even the fact that they're back to back, like
Right,
it
right.
literally could have been
Yeah, if
better
they
if
had
it was
been-
like, yo, let's go to Druig first, and then let's go to somebody else, and then let's go to, and then yeah, it's just fucking boring
Or
that they're the
if they
same
had-
type of archetype.
Yeah, or if they had gone to the Domo first and been like, "Oh, we can't do this without Fastos." Like if they reunited with Makari first, and then they were like, "Oh,
Right,
you know
yeah.
who we need? We need Fastos." And then they went. But Fastos has one of my favorite scenes in the movie, which is I really love the scene at Hiroshima in the aftermath.
See, you like
I
that
actually
scene.
dislike that scene.
I love that scene. Because I think
I think it's done
perfectly,
poorly.
it might not be, again, a lot of ideas in this movie that I really love. The ideas
I like the
of.
idea. I think it's done poorly. Yeah.
I think it works for me of him standing there and being like, even if I didn't directly have anything to do with this, it is still my fault because I brought them to this point.
They could have infinitely made the scene better with an extra 30 seconds of him like reacting to it happening. You know what I mean? Like, no, like just like absolutely
I don't know.
in fear and shit.
I think
to
people
me,
would have been
I can't
upset
just
about that,
be.
Jay.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know if they
I
needed
think
to
people
show
would have
it.
been mad about. I think people would have been mad about that.
I think people would have been mad about it, but to me, it makes the scene shit because it's like he's at this level where he goes from wanting to help all these people to immediately they're not worth it, and it's like, yeah, it makes sense when I think about it logically, but like I don't feel it, so I don't care.
I don't know if it's fair to say that it's an immediate turn because we don't get to see all this. Like, we go through so much time in this movie. They arrive in Mesopotamia and we go through so much time, so we don't really know how Fastos viewed the human race in between what they leave Babylon and then we have this massive gap. Or no, it's
like 2,000 years, yeah.
Yeah, there's a pretty big gap between when we see them and when the Hiroshima stuff happens. So I think there's time there, especially the last thing he sees is Druig mind control all the people to stop a massacre. So like I think that, again, the movie had been, I don't know if it needed another 3.5 hours like some people seem to think, but even 20-30 minutes, it just, I think a lot of these things would have worked better if we'd had more time with the characters.
Yeah.
I think, and we're getting off track of what we're doing, but I would just say, I think if they would have just waited on this movie and had the success they've had with television now, I think they would have rethought this, and I think they would have done it as a show.
Probably.
I think they were just so excited about it.
Yeah.
Everything I've read is like Kevin Feige was so excited about this movie, and like they fast tracked it because someone came up with a good script, and they were like, "This is." And I think they would have waited and made it a television
script.
show. Right. Well, or a workable script, dude. A workable.
Yeah,
script,
no,
okay?
I'm trolling.
I think a series would have. I think people would have been bored out of their minds.
Yeah. If it's like the first half of this movie,
Well, obviously
I
the
agree.
pacing would be different, right? Like they're gonna have more action and like more. You just get more of it.
On rewatch, I was surprised there was a lot more action than I remembered in the movie. I think the movie's paced pretty well. I feel like there's a nice action sequence to break up the slower parts pretty frequently throughout the movie, pretty evenly spaced out.
We can talk about that.
Sorry, we're getting way off topic.
I want to keep going through the characters. I do want to say Sprite very ill equipped to deal with deviants. Fastos much more better equipped to deal with deviants.
Dope.
Because I didn't say that. Kingo's Pog. But let me
Love
say
Kingo.
about Kingo,
He might be my favorite, honestly.
he is so poorly equipped to deal with deviants. His little fucking energy balls suck,
Pew,
dude.
pew, pew, pew. They're so cool.
They're
he
cool,
takes that one dude's head
but
off.
they suck, dude. Like
He takes that one dude's head off with it, and all the blood like scoop.
Well, and that was like
an
an evolved version too.
right,
Like the ones that they fight in the
waved him, I get it,
trees.
but it like I don't know. It's in.
They're like next level deviants when they're fighting them because like
Oh, for
they're
sure.
like infused with the Ajax power.
But I just mean
He's
even
like,
the
"Cut the
beginning
boom."
scene when they're not, right?
I don't know. I feel like he was all. Yeah, I feel like he was.
I feel like he was just kind of
popping them.
pinging at people. But I think the character's fun. I like the character. I like the Johnny Cage-esque, he's been in a million movies and it's his grandpa and then it's his.
Oh, I love that.
That shit killed me.
Yeah.
He has a line right before the final act that I wrote down because I really love it, where he says, "I still have faith in Arashem, but I refuse to hurt any of you for my beliefs."
Mhm.
And I really love that because I feel like I feel like Kingo staying out of the final battle is one of the most realistic things that a Marvel movie has ever done. So many big blockbusters, you have the character that's reluctant to join in, but something's gonna happen to him, and he's gonna be forced. Like, even though he doesn't want to, we need him for the finale, so we're gonna do something to force his character into this climactic third act. But no, he's just like, I'm not fucking doing this. I don't believe in this. I'm out. And I love that they let his character make that choice.
I agree.
Yeah, I also wrote down that Kingo is the only one who could be neutral and not just be hated. I think if any other character is just like neutral, they get shit on by the entire fan base because Kingo is just so good as like so comic relief. He also, has that moment we talked about earlier where like, he can actually have these very like serious things. Like he's just he's a very well-written character.
And Kumail got fucking ripped for the part, dude.
Dude, he's shredded. So ripped.
True.
For no real reason either, because he's not like shirtless at all ever. He's just like fucking like, and he's shooting little bing bings on people, but like he just got shredded, dude. Good for him, man.
Yeah, dude.
Ajax.
Goat shit.
Ajax is Pog, and here's why.
I have one thing I hate.
Because I love Selma Hayek.
That's true, dude. On God. God.
I don't know that this is true, but something in my subconscious is telling me the first pair of boobies I've ever seen were Selma Hayek's. Okay.
That's legit, dude.
And I just think she's such an impressive actress outside of the boobies thing that I just said.
But legitimately,
she's such an impressive actress, and she was so excited to be in this movie, and I think she did great. And I like the character of being like a motherly type, but also I love that with the twist, because I was like, man, she really is going along with this, and it turns out she has for millions of years, and now is, because Earth is special, she's having this change of heart, and I enjoyed that part of it, because I was a little bummed going into that part where I was like, man, she really wanted to destroy the world, huh? That's crazy. But like, I like that she got, even though she died very quickly in the movie, she got a lot of flashback scenes, and we get to see her quite a bit.
I feel like, and while Ajax says to Icarus, like, Earth is special, like, they brought the people back after Thanos snapped them all away, like, I also do think that Ajax has been thinking about this for a while, even before Iron Man showed up or Captain, because you can see it in that scene when they're all splitting up, where she's like, this can be it. We can break the cycle if they just experience real life or whatever to send them all away.
She's trying to show them, because like she doesn't say, oh, when our mission's complete. She says, oh, when we see each other again, I want you to show me what you found. Right?
Yes.
But my main problem, and again, it's not necessarily the character, I think it's the fucking, like, the writing, is, so, the earthquake happens, and Icarus comes, and he's like, yo, what the fuck's happening? And, like, is this the emergence? Because she had told him everything right after the whole Druig incident where he just mind controls everybody, right? Then she waits until a week before the emergence to be like, yeah, we have to go find everybody. We got to try and stop the emergence. Like, this is a special place. A fucking week. It's been thousands of years. You're telling me you don't think, like, if even with the whole, like, really reading into it, really reading in between the lines, that the reason that Ajax had them all go out is to find out that this is a special place, and that, they can be their own person, like, they don't have to be soldiers, like, this whole thing, right? You don't think that they could fucking find something to attach themselves to this fucking place in fucking 2,000 years? Like, you have to wait until the week before?
I actually have a counterpoint to this, Jason. Here's my counterpoint. We're assuming Ajax is pretty intelligent and knows a lot about this stuff. She's done it multiple times. What if she knew the only way to stop this from happening was the way they did it? Like, not in a Doctor Strange way, but like, hey, they know that she knows that the Celestial connects to the Eternals and shields them, and that's how they survive when the planet blows up. And she knew and so telling them sooner than a week, you don't know what's going to happen with their resolve leading up to it, right?
Right, but like 1,500 years isn't enough for them to become attached. Like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
That's
no,
a bit much.
I get it. I'm just saying
It's a bit much, but also the one thing, because I thought about it, right? Like, I wasn't just like, okay, this is bullshit. Let me not even think about it and just take it at face value. The only thing I can think of, and this is like getting really fucking like deep into it, is like, okay, the snap happens. It cuts the population in half. She's like, okay, this shit isn't gonna happen for fucking ages, right? Then they get snapped back. But the thing is that there was years happening where, like, you know, they're essentially repopulating again, right? So there was actually even more people than there was pre-snap, right? Because it's years later and everybody's like essentially trying to figure out what the fuck to do again. So that's the only thing I can think of, is that it accelerated it more.
Right.
Like,
it
pre-snap,
snuck up on her.
she knew. Yeah, pre-snap, she knew she had like years. Post-snap, it goes from like in the middle of the snap, she's like, okay, this isn't happening for fucking decades at least, right? And then boom, all of a sudden it happens when the snap comes back, and then she does it.
I think that's smart. I think that's the way to read it.
That could make sense. That's like the way to write them out of the corner.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. To me, it definitely, like, watching it, I remember being like, it's a week in 7 days or whatever. We gotta go find them. Why are you waiting until now?
I was also really confused watching the movie, because that's part of the trailer, right? Is her talking to Icarus.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, she's dead.
Yeah.
And then because Marvel's so slick about some of this shit, I was like, oh, they must have like recorded that scene just for the trailer. Right?
Yeah,
so I didn't even talk myself out of the twist, right? I didn't even talk myself into the twist of Icarus being bad. I was just like, oh yeah, that must have been just for the trailer, like when they put Hulk running next to everybody in fucking Infinity War or whatever. I'm an idiot. Anyway, Thena.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little conflicted on Thena.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's why. Angelina Jolie is a badass, right?
True.
Mm-hmm.
But going into it, I'm like, I'm a little sick of Angelina Jolie being a badass, right? That's all she does now, is she's just this badass woman. But then, you know, she started to grow on me as a badass. But then we have the whole, what did they call it? The win.
Mad Weary?
Mad Weary, that's what it was. Yeah, we have the Mad Weary, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, the immediately when we meet them in the present, I'm like, oh, Gilgamesh is gonna die. And I'm upset about that, because I already really liked Gilgamesh, and I knew she was gonna get Gilgamesh killed.
Yeah.
And that pissed me off. So that's why I'm torn on it. I think she's pretty cool. I like the idea of, like, especially her being like the reason that, like, the Greek goddess Athena exists, because they were, you know, I like all that stuff with, like, the ancient alien shit they do in this movie, for the record. But she kind of pisses me off because she got Gilgamesh killed. But she is very capable of dealing with deviants.
I also like how they use her as, like, a vehicle to find out how, like, what is happening in the Arishem. Like, they've died a million times type thing.
Right, and she's just having memories of her previous one, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the idea of Mad Weary. And I love that she's the one that we see it portrayed through. There's just, I'd love something about the idea of the greatest soldier being the one that's mind is just too broken to keep going or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, so here's the plot twist of why I like this movie. There's a very similar idea in Stormlight. In fact, like, most of the powers in this movie operate very similar to powers in Stormlight. So that's the twist of why I only like the movie, because it's just a Stormlight adaptation. No, I'm joking.
No.
Anyway,
I'm joking.
Moving on.
One thing that I noticed this time with Thena that I actually really like, that I really did not realize at all the first time. So, like, she has Mad Weary, and the idea is that it's the weight of all the memories. Like, it's a brain overload, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she is gonna get killed by fucking what's his name? Crow?
Yeah.
And he's sucking out her memories, and then sucks out enough memories to where she doesn't have Mad Weary anymore. So then she fucking kills him. That she was gonna die, but he essentially cured her of Mad Weary. And then, like, they even show it later where like she doesn't know what the fuck to do with the toaster, even though she's probably seen a toaster a bunch of times, right? Like that, like just random certain memories are taken from her, so she's like, what the fuck is going on sometimes? I like that, and that's a cool way to cure her of that and make her back to like how she was before. And so yeah, I do like that part, although I do hate the finale still. But yeah.
Moving on to Circe, the effective main character of this story, the person who we see the story through. I think Circe's Pog, but I'm saying
she's
not,
mid.
She's not as excitingly Pog as I'm saying
She's
when
mid.
I say Pog. I like her. I like the visuals of her ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like the way it turns into like that's one of the most impressive visuals in the movie when she turns something into like flowers or butterflies or it's really cool stuff.
It was all good.
She's a bit plain Jane for me.
Yeah.
As a character, Sean, what do you think of Circe?
Oh, I really love Circe. I really love I love her love for humanity. I think it's a really pure thing. And I do agree that it's a kind of it's kind of the Superman thing, right? Where if you do it right, it can be a little bit boring to people. But there is something that I think is important in a movie like this where you're weighing like, why is it important to save these 6 billion people over hundreds of billions of people that could be born because of the emergence of a celestial? And I do think it's important to have a character like Circe who is just so enamored with humanity and Earth. I think it's important to have that point of view be the one that you're perceiving this through, because otherwise that equation, the math doesn't really add up.
Right.
Of the kind of the main dilemma.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing with her that I have like written down where I was like, this doesn't really make sense character-wise is like her being against killing the Celestial to start. I think that's just like it was something where she was like, I'm not doing it unless it's the last fucking thing possible, right? It's like, okay, so you want to just have a massive sleeping beast inside this Earth? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what
she
happens
wanted
if
to
it
find
wakes
a
up?
more peaceful solution.
What happens if it wakes up? Like, you're okay, keeping it asleep or killing it. It's like the same fucking thing. You're just preventing.
Well,
like
they had the plan of they were gonna move everybody off Earth, right?
Oh,
Let's just take the town and move it somewhere else.
Right.
It's
right.
I
that
guess I could
episode
see
of
that.
Well,
I just
was the
remember
plan.
thinking that was weird that she was like against killing it when it's like
she's like the ultimate peaceful.
Yeah,
eternal.
yeah.
You
all
know what
life
I
is
mean?
sacred.
Everything she does,
want-
she just turns things in the water and fun thing. You know, like
Yeah.
and
she
she's
can't kill people with her powers, presumably, until she can.
yeah, until suddenly she can turn
well,
one into a
it
tree.
would make sense because she can't. Well, okay. At first, I remember thinking like, oh, that makes sense because the deviants aren't like their own sentient life. Like they were made by like both of them were made by the same thing, and so like it's not technically sentient life or like whatever, you know. So I thought that was it, but then she just turns fucking Sprite into a human. So I was like, I don't fucking know.
But
dude.
Jason, she still had power from the Mega
Unimind.
Mind.
She was linked to
And
the
so it makes it-
celestial.
Yeah, so it breaks the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
a
When
cheat
you're
code.
overpowered by the celestial, you can do whatever you want.
Honestly, though,
I
I'm not
think
mad
that
at
fucking
that.
works.
I'm not mad at
Yeah,
that plot contrivance because that way I don't have to deal with Sprite in the next movie. Anyway,
But
finally,
also, I don't think. Well,
Ooh.
hang on, because I don't think you can't accept that being like you can't live in a universe where people gather 6 pretty stones and snap their fingers and all of life or half of life ceases to exist. But then be like, oh, but if you're connected to a celestial god of the universe, then you can't be powerful.
I just think
enough
it's
to,
very
like-
hand wavy, Sean. Don't you think it's hand wavy?
I think it's a little
They
convenient,
don't
but I
explain
think in
that.
a world
there's
where
no
they
like
collect
there's no
a
like
bunch
speech earlier where like, oh,
There's
remember
no foreshadowing.
Remember
yeah,
when
or
Ajax
anything.
It's
told
not well
us that
foreshadowed.
Celestials can change people's DNA? You know, like there's not like
I don't know if
could've-
they need to know that beforehand.
Well, and I don't think that it's just like it just changes her power inherently. Like I don't know, it just is weird. Like I thought
It's the way
because
she
it
says
leaves
it.
you. it leads you to think that she can't. So she straight up says that she can't, right, to her boyfriend when he's making the jokes, right? I want to be a giraffe and shit. But then, so she's like, yeah, I can't do it to sentient life. I just can't. And then it makes sense. Like, they lead you to believe, oh, she did it to a deviant. And then you realize that later, oh, that's why she could do it to the deviant. It's because they're not actually, like, they were made by the fucking Celestials, like, by Erisham or whatever. But then it's like, no, now I can also turn you into a human.
Well,
It's
she
just
can't
weird.
do it whenever. She does it because she was tapped into literally a being that creates galaxies. Like, the amount of power that you have in that moment is extravagant. Like, she can't continue to do it to whoever she wants now.
Right. No, I get that. I understand that. I just think the way it's presented to us in the final, like, act, where she just goes, by the way, Sprite, I still have power from the Unimind, so if you want to be a human, I can do that. It's like, how does she know she can do that? How does she know? Like, it just seems very, like, hand-wavy to me.
It's a little. I agree that it feels a little hand wavy to me as well. But I think it's the
I'm
kind of
fine with
hand wavy
it.
that I can accept from like a superhero movie.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't think that's like unrealistic. It just feels like you're led to believe something else. And then, like, you said, okay, this is the rule. And then you find out, oh, okay, that's why it still follows the rule. And then you just break the rule. And I get that it's like, okay, you're connected to a Celestial, but I just felt like it wasn't done very well.
Finally. Icarus. Richard Madden as Icarus. I have one problem with Icarus. Why is he Scottish or whatever?
Oh, I was gonna say that he's boring.
He's a bit boring.
He is.
Why does he have an accent?
Why not? I don't know.
I guess they all kind of different people have accents. I don't know. His accent in particular just bothered me for some reason. I don't know why. He's just he's angsty Superman, which you think I'd be like into, but I'm not.
Yeah, well, because angsty Superman is boring.
Right. Well, also, I'm sick of laser beams from the eyes.
That's your problem with Icarus? Is the laser beam?
Yeah, dude. Like, unless you're Cyclops, I don't want to see any fucking laser beams, dude.
Unless you're Cyclops.
My problem with his powers is that
he's really bad at shooting him too. He misses all the time.
He does miss all the time. Like, you literally just looking at him. You know what I mean? It's not
he's
like you're like
on
looking at
purpose.
you literally just looking at them. I can't look at them, right? Like, what the fuck? Anyway, no, to me it's weird that like the power level of him changes weirdly. Like, he will literally be laser beaming a deviant for like fucking 45 seconds straight before it fucking kills it. But then when he's like 1v9, he fucking laser beams the spaceship and one-shots the whole spaceship. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, he can laser beam somebody and it not kill them, but he can laser and like be wanting to kill them because it's a deviant. And then can just like fucking destroy this massive fucking ship that can go in fucking outer
felt
space.
A lot like Kingo's like little balls, where it's like, okay, it's hitting them and it's obviously hurting them, but it's not as effective as you want it to be.
Yeah.
And then he misses all the time, which is just it's ridiculous.
Yeah. The other thing that I have where, so like with the whole like Ajax waiting for a week before the emergence, Icarus literally goes, "Why now?" And I'm like, exactly, why now? Like, what the fuck? One other thing that I think is that I wrote down is Icarus flying too close to the sun, Kek W. Like, that's how he dies. It's like he kills himself flying into the moon. I think that's funny.
Wait, the moon or the sun?
Or not the moon, the sun. I meant the sun. But him flying into the sun is funny. But one thing is that, so like, the idea is that like the way that when they die, the Celestial essentially absorbs them or whatever. So they're like dead then, right? Because it's not like they just get they don't actually die. Like, they get protected. Like, I'm not sure, right? Because it's like,
I think they can come
I don't
back.
know if he flew into the sun because he's going back to Erisham or something.
I think, well, he's going back to Erisham, but he doesn't have his memories because it's a new, like, they showed that scene when Cersei's finding out all of this. They show like hundreds of clones of them, like without their skin, like they're kind of like they look almost
Well, it's like different ones, yeah.
Right. They look almost like they have plants on them for some reason.
Yeah.
But I think the idea is that he would just be reborn, but without his memories. And
right, but that's why I wasn't sure. Is that like so those memories are just like wiped, himself. Obviously, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Does he get sent back to Arishem because of that? Like Tiamat's dead. I don't know.
It's tough to say.
I think that body is dead, and then Arishem can grab another one and put the memories from before. Because remember, they wiped the memories at the end, and the memories are stored there. He could put those memories into a blank slate.
The fake like slate where it's like, yo, you're from this planet, but you're really not.
Or even you could have the memories from right before they were sent to Earth. Because presumably they would have gone back to the World Forge and had their memories wiped after their last mission and before they were sent off to Earth.
Yeah, it's like the fake memories because they don't know about the World Forge. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I feel like any of these characters can come back. I feel like Gilgamesh, Ajak, any of them could come back as a like, we fucking threw out another copy and we put the memories in there and they're back.
I agree.
Okay.
I think that's how it works.
Oh, one other thing that I thought was stupid with Cersei is, so they're in the forest or whatever and they're trying to get Druig, and like she literally watches a fucking one of the humans get just chomped by a deviant, right? And they're fighting all of them, and then she does a cool thing where she turns part of the tree into water and then turns the top of the tree into metal, so then it falls on and does it. And then Druig's got the bitch stun locked because he's got like 80 people firing squatting it, right? And I'm like, yo, this is dope. Okay, Druig's kind of fucking lit, right? And then Cersei's like, let them go. It's like, what the fuck? They're killing the fucking deviant. What do you mean? Like they're killing the deviant.
Were killing it. I think they had him stun locked, and it was like, if he gets free, he's gonna kill all of these people, and they don't have a choice.
Let them go. You're better than this. And he's like, this is not the fucking time to do this. And she's like, you're better than this. That shit is fucking stupid, dude. They're fighting a deviant. Like, him controlling them is probably them. They're gonna be safer because of it. So then it's like, oh, okay, let's stop shooting it and then just tell them to run. Like, as if it. And it's one of those things where, like, yeah, he's mind controlling them, but it's obvious that like they trust him
for the
like,
greater good. Come on, guys.
They're like, Druig, what do we do? And he's like, run to the river, right? Like, I don't know, dude. This shit is fucking stupid as fuck. That part, I was like, what the hell?
Jason, do you have all your nitpicks out now that we went through every character?
I'll probably think of another one later, dude.
All right.
Wait, can I say one thing about Icarus?
Backstory?
Can I just say one thing about Icarus?
Yeah.
All right, I fucking have no defenses for Icarus, but I did pog out of my mind when Icarus and Dane met because, like, bro, I waited so long for Rob and John to meet again. They fucking went their separate ways at the end of season 1, and then they all fucking. Oh,
this is
Rob
a Game
died.
of Thrones thing, Jason.
He never got to see his brother again, dude, and I was just like, oh, they're together again.
Anyway, that was for all the Game of Thrones fans out there. We have spent 49 minutes talking about each Eternal in their entirety, so I think we should probably move on to our categories here. What's the best scene of this movie, guys?
Sprite getting knocked the fuck out.
Oh, I love the finale. I think the powers used in the finale, like specifically the fight against Icarus. Crow is one of the worst Marvel villains. I don't know if he reaches as bad. No,
we're not to that part yet. We're not to that part yet. Don't do good villain, bad villain yet. Come on.
But sorry. But my point being, that part of the fight sucks. But the bit where like Makari's fucking running into Icarus and just like where she just runs back and forth, and then Sonic
that probably is the best
ass.
scene. Yeah,
like,
that is the best scene.
And when
that's definitely the best action scene.
Yeah, he's like, I've been wanting to clip your wings like Fastos. Like that shit is awesome. That's maybe my favorite part of the movie.
Then he just rages out anyways. Like, okay, dude.
If we're talking not necessarily just action, but I really enjoyed the scene where Cersei is kind of shown everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like how everything works and it's revealed. Like the visuals are really cool there.
Like the World Forge scene?
Yeah. Sorry, what's the name of the Celestial that
Arishem?
Arishem. Anytime Arishem's on screen is so cool.
He's so fucking big.
He's so big, and he's just like, "What up?" And
they get the scale really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch it with the IMAX formatting on Disney
did not.
Plus?
I just watched it regular.
Dude, it's so fucking big with the IMAX formatting. I love that Disney Plus lets you watch stuff with the IMAX formatting. I love that sequence. That is part of the things that makes me so excited for a possible sequel. Hopefully, please, Marvel. Because like I think that's the shit we'd be getting into is more of the cosmic weird fucking areas and stuff.
Yeah,
the show.
That's the infinitely better part.
The scene at the end where he summons the three of them.
Oh fuck!
And then the way he vanishes, dude. That shit,
black hole.
So cool. And the way he like, it's the only time we've seen that a ton in like Marvel media that wasn't comics is like Galactus, right? But like the way he's just like over the world when he like pulls her, I'm like, holy shit, that's cool. So
that part is like terrifying.
Right. It
was really cool in theater too.
Right, I bet.
I also love all the scenes where they're being a family.
Yeah.
Like in the flashbacks or in the modern day and stuff. Like it kind of it reminds you of like the kind of Joss Whedon-y Avengers banter, but like if written well, like if the characters felt real. That's kind of how I feel. Like when they're making fun of each other.
The Druig Makari part is probably my favorite of like the,
it's so good.
Yeah, of the flashbacks, they're my favorite with that because it definitely feels very natural. That's the other thing is like when it comes to like Druig and Makari, like I feel like they have way better chemistry just as like actors than Cersei and Icarus do.
Are you ready for some more IMDb trivia that I definitely read but didn't take because like this is dumb? So originally Druig was supposed to be like let on that Druig had at one point been linked to Cersei romantically, but then the director saw Barry Keoghan and Lauren Ridolph like interact, and they had such good chemistry that they changed the script. So they
That's
had
smart.
So that wasn't originally
I
planned.
like that infinitely better.
Yeah, me too. Because it's like, wait, Cersei's just hooking up with all the Eternals? What's going on here?
I want to be able to see
Kingo
one
get
day.
a shot? What's going on?
I want to see one day. Makari kind of they kind of talk about how Makari can almost hear what people are saying through the vibrations of their lips moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to see that visualized in a way, like how
that would be
in
cool.
Daredevil we see his sight visualized. Like something like that would be really cool to see visualized in a movie at some point.
I agree.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I love what Marvel, between this and Hawkeye, what Marvel's doing with people in like the ASL community and like doing actual
with the deaf community. It's dope.
Part of when I was originally watching this movie for the first time, I was like, but wait, like sign language didn't exist yet, and then I was like, wait a minute, she invented it, you idiot! What's wrong with you? You know, like of course it doesn't exist. She taught everybody how to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so best scene, we had a couple different answers here. I think, despite some of the writing being bad in the finale, I do think Sean's right about that being the best action in the movie by far. And I think the visual of that beach and like the hand and the head coming up out of the water.
Oh, the Celestial reaching out is so cool. It's
so
cool.
big and cool. And I have this weird like love of this happens in JRPGs sometimes, and actually there's a moment in Chrono Cross that we're going to witness at some point where a giant thing comes out of the water, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, yo, and then there's fucking seagulls flying by. I don't know why. I'm like, yo, the seagulls are there? They fucking know what's up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I like that so much.
The seagulls are coming.
Yo, the seagulls they're going to make a nest on his finger. You know, like I'm like hype about seagulls for some reason.
They're going to get us out of here.
So what's the worst scene in the movie? And I just want to nominate one right away and say the sex scene is terrible.
Yes. That is so weird. It's so unnecessary.
I think they could have just cut that, and they could have just had them, you know, and I'm not saying it because I'm like, ew, sex scene, but I don't get why it existed.
Yeah.
I think they could have gotten away with just, the stuff where they're admiring each other, and then he confesses his love for her, and then the marriage. You know what I mean? Like, that would have been just
that
as
marriage
effective.
sequence was, I really loved the when it pans to the family and Ajax is like crying.
Right.
Like,
right. That's how that
Yeah.
was really cool. But then
Yeah.
they put that sex scene before it, and it's just like, wow, what? I don't
What
even.
the fuck?
Why did they do this? I don't understand. Like, especially knowing how Disney is these days. Like, huh?
Also,
think
Arishem
that's
really
kinda why I like
gave him a dick, dude. That's crazy, bro.
yeah, dude. What else you got? I kind of like that it's just like I have no reason to enjoy it other than a boundary pushed in terms of like what.
No, I
we'll
get
show,
that. I get that.
You know.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something the director wanted to do to see how far
Mm.
they could get with Feige. You know, like what's
Yeah.
Feige gonna let me do here? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That to me, that's maybe the worst scene in the movie. Is
I
there
actually dislike the intro. The whole nobody's talking. The audio levels seemed very weird. I remember that being something like in theater. It seemed weird. Like it seemed like a very quiet scene. And I get that can be like artistically what they were going for, right? Because nobody says a word to each other. They do like sign language, and then like the native people are like look out, but like in their language or whatever, right? Well, like there's no words for the entire intro, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like this is so weird.
I do think the first quarter of the movie's a little rough to get through.
It's very slow.
It's
Like
very
the kid
slow.
watches his dad die. She feels bad. She gives him a fucking dagger, but like nobody is saying anything. Like it seemed very
Well,
weird.
then you cut to present day, and she's in the classroom, and there's an earthquake, and fucking Jon
do love
Snow's
the-
there, and
Jon Snow is Dan Whitman's so good. I do love the transition of her giving the dagger, and then when she's in that wherever she is in London, and she looks up at the billboard, and the dagger is
right. It's like an ancient
it's a-
thing, yeah.
Yeah, I do like that little transition. My least favorite scene is Jason's favorite. I don't like when Druig knocks out.
That's fair.
Sprite.
That's fair.
It feels like it's what everybody always complains about, and I don't like that Marvel gave them ammunition.
So, the only thing I'll say about that scene is that they didn't do the worst version of that scene, where the worst version of that scene is like Kingo flies down and hits her, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's the worst version of that scene, right?
Yeah, at
Like
least
that-
it's Druig because yeah.
Or she
it's
gets
very
shot in
timing.
the back by a little yellow ball, and he goes, "You have to go," and it's like, what is Kingo doing
Yeah.
here? So that would be the worst version of that scene.
You're right. You're
Well,
right.
I do think it's not. I get why Jason likes it because he doesn't like Sprite, and I don't
I
like
fucking
Sprite.
I
hate
get why
Sprite.
you'd like it. Yeah.
But I agree. It's a little.
I don't know how you do that scene. Like, how do you get it to where, like, she very clearly turns on her to the point where it's like, okay, she's not just talking her down, right?
Right. No, I get it. I get it.
Also,
I don't think.
They did not try to hide that it was Sprite at all. Like, how is Sprite
No.
not smart enough to come up with something else to say other than "you're not strong enough to do this and you won't"? Like, it's just like, holy shit, bro! Like, you've been an illusionist for like 7,000 years. You can't think of a slightly better thing to say.
That's part of the problem with Sprite in general is
She's just a worse Loki.
they wrote her like she's a child, even though she's
Not
not
wrong.
supposed to be a
She's
child.
just a shit Loki.
Like, why is she written like she's a child? She's not a child. That's what
Yeah.
bothers me about Sprite.
Yeah.
In its
No,
core,
I get
You know
that.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Good villain or bad villain, Sean?
A bad villain.
Are we counting Crow as the villain here?
I would say okay. Crow is a bad, one of the worst villains in the MCU. I'd say I don't think he's as bad as like the villain from Dark World, like Eccleston's villain. I'd say he's like on the same level as like
Laufey or whatever.
Caecilius from Doctor Strange. No, Laufey was the Frost Giant guy.
Oh yeah, no,
Laufey
he's the
is-
Frost Giant, not the dark.
Yeah,
the dark
I don't
elf
even
or
remember what the
whatever.
dark. He's
Is it
fucking
like
Morginian or
Makari? No, it's not
something.
Makari. It's like Malachi.
Malachi,
Yeah.
that's it.
Malachi.
Malekith.
Malekith. Yeah, Malekith.
Yes. I don't think he's as bad as Malekith. I think he's like on the same level as Caecilius from Doctor Strange, where you're like, why the fuck are you doing what you're doing? Like, you kind of are cool sometimes, but you're kind of really lame most of the time, and none of this makes any sense.
Well,
Um,
okay, wouldn't you argue that Icarus is the villain?
Well, I was about to say, I'd say bad villain, antagonist, because I don't know if Icarus is villain, but he's the antagonist. I think he's an okay antagonist. I don't think he's He's a pretty bad one, but I don't think he's as bad as Crow. I just think there's
Yeah.
nothing redeemable about Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand, and I think they do an okay job of explaining that that's why he did what he did, where he's like essentially like, you made me suffer, like, stay away from Cersei, you told me all this shit, and I'm thinking it's for the greater good, and then now you just want to make all of my suffering be for nothing. And essentially turn on everything that I believed in for the last 7,000 years, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's okay, but yeah, I think he's kind of mid.
Yeah,
as
I
a
think he's
antagonist.
mid for sure. And I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like I get I get Icarus's problems with the math. But I also think the movie doesn't do a good job of explaining it, because constantly they're like, we're saving, like, billions of lives won't be born if we do this. It's like, no. They show Celestials not creating individual planets. They show them creating galaxies. We're not talking about billions of lives. We're talking about hundreds of billions of lives. Like, I don't think that they really, the characters do a good job of expressing just how crazy of a math equation we're talking about is. Whether it's worth saving this minuscule of life in comparison to what could be born from a Celestial. Like, I think that's a problem with the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Who's the best supporting actor? What's the best supporting role in this movie?
Karun? Is that his name?
Karun's pretty good. I do like Karun. Actually, the worst version of that scene that you described is Karun stops.
I was gonna say that. I literally was gonna say that, but I was like, I don't know. I think that's actually better.
That might be better.
Honestly,
than
I
Kingo
feel like
doing
it'd be.
I think it's better than Kingo doing it.
I think it's
He
better than
throws the
Kingo or
camera at her.
Druig. I think it's crazy enough that I'd be like, fuck it. All right, sure. I don't care. This is great.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, Karun's good. I mean, it's tough with this ensemble cast to be like, yo, who's I would say Kingo.
Yeah, it's like
Kingo's kind of a supporting player, right?
Yeah,
I
would
don't
say
want to
Kingo's
label any of them as supporting, but I think you're right.
I like Phastos' son. He's funny.
I would say
like him, yeah.
Main characters are fucking Cersei, Icarus.
I don't think you could call Ajax or Thena.
No,
I think Kingo's a main character.
I don't think so.
Gilgamesh?
I feel like Kingo's in a lot of the movie.
No, I don't think Gilgamesh is either. I would say it's those two.
I think Gilgamesh is pog as fuck, dude.
I love Gilgamesh, but I don't think he's like a main. I wanted more of him. He was one of the main ones that I was like,
right.
He's so fucking cool, like.
And his name is Ma Dong-seok. Is his
Dude,
name?
He's awesome.
And he's awesome. He's Korean, dude. He's a fucking legend.
I would argue that I think the four leads of the movie are Cersei, Icarus, Kingo, and Sprite. I think they're the four that have the most going on in the movie,
wouldn't say
and they
Thena?
have the most. No, because Thena has a character.
Thena has her own
arc.
arc.
Yeah, I think
small.
Athena is more of a main character than Kingo to me. Even though I like Kingo more.
I think just going off of screen time alone, like I think if you were to do the math, I don't know. Athena probably has way less screen time than any of those four, because those four are like.
I think she has the least, but like, I think she has more. I think she's the fourth.
She has more of an arc than
Kingo's
Kingo for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Kingo doesn't even change. She's still like, yo, I'm gonna go back to Bollywood. Like, he's not.
Well, yeah, but I don't know if that means that she's the main character or if that means that she's a better written character.
How about this?
You know what I mean?
The end of the movie, we end up with Thena, Druig, and Makari going off together to be what's ready for the sequel, right?
Yeah, the three supporting characters.
Right, but I'm saying Thena's the main there.
Maybe in the sequel, yeah. But I don't think in this movie.
Okay,
I don't think she's the main in this movie.
Anyway, who's the best supporting? We didn't say. We just argued about what that means. I'm giving it to Gilgamesh, dude.
They're all so good. I love all of them.
When he makes the brew with his own corn that he chewed and spit, dude.
Yeah.
I love Druig. I love all of them. I can't choose one. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough.
I'd say my favorite is Druig. I like every scene he's in.
Druig's pretty good. Biggest pop off. What's the moment that made you guys pop off the most?
The ending where it shows the Celestial next to Earth and shit.
That
I was
seems
like,
good.
holy shit. Like that part gave me goosebumps in theaters because it's just like you see how immense he is compared to the planet. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I will say I agree with that, but I want to say he pulls those three, right? Because they're the one still on Earth because Sprite isn't a Celestial anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the other three got in their ship and flew away.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't pull them, but they were arguably more involved than Kingo was.
Right.
Maybe they're about to get ambushed, or maybe Star Fox is like, you don't understand. I just fought off. They were gonna grab you, but I got them because I'm Harry Styles. Like, who knows, dude?
I don't know. I just it's weird to me that he didn't grab everybody because he could. He could do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right. He knows exactly where they are.
That's the opening of the next movie. You know how like Infinity War opened with all the Asgardians getting fucking killed? Like that's Eternals 2 opens with them killing all of the other ones.
Sean, do you have another scene for pop off, or is that yours too?
No, I think mine is Makari fighting Icarus, just because I've always been such a fan of speedster characters, and I've never seen them done well, in my opinion. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Not that I've never seen them done well. I've never seen them done well to the extent that I would have liked, like showing the power behind them.
Yeah,
like,
I think the action aspect of it, because like I think what they did with Quicksilver in the X-Men movies was cool, but like he's not fighting people, he's just doing like wild stuff.
Yeah. And then the one time he fights, he gets bodied by Apocalypse.
Right. This was like really cool, like fighting action with a speedster, which it boggles my mind how they even did that.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's really something we've never seen. So I agree. I really love that. I think that was my biggest pop off, sitting in the theater on the big screen for the first time. I was like, holy fuck, when she like sonic booms him and shit. Like,
yeah, it is a really good scene.
All right.
Definitely a standout.
Next category, best Marvel Easter egg. There aren't a ton.
I like how they were taught where Kingo's like, yeah, Thor used to follow me around and now he won't answer my calls. That's probably my favorite, I guess.
Yeah, in that scene they talk about a couple different Avenger things.
Who's gonna lead the Avengers?
The Avengers.
That's the worst written line. That's the worst written line of all of MCU.
It's really bad.
I don't know that there. I mean, we don't have a Stan Lee cameo because rest in peace, big guy. There's not really a ton. Like it's pretty disconnected from the MCU. Now there's some Marvel stuff in there, like obviously,
like Eros.
Right, when Arrow shows up at the post-credit scene, he is the brother of Thanos. That is a thing.
Oh God. And he's so perfect for that role.
We can talk about that in the post-credit scene. I don't want to, that I don't want to talk about that too much because I actually have a problem. I really like the post-credit scenes, but I have a problem with both of them, and we'll get to that. So yeah, I think they just kind of reference Avengers stuff, and that's fine. Yep. Most memeable. Is there a meme from this? Is there memes?
It's the same thing. Who's gonna lead the Avengers?
Yeah, that's probably it, huh?
You know what's I think an underrated joke though is when they're on the Domo and Icarus has ended up with like this ancient tablet of knowledge, and Druig just has like a fucking bag of candy.
I do
and
like that
They kind of look at
scene.
each other and they're like, and they grab each other's shit and they're like, don't fucking tell anybody. Like
well, it was Twinkies.
It was Twinkies.
Yeah, it was a box of Twinkies. Yeah. I like that. I thought that was really funny.
That's a good joke.
Yeah, I did like that. One of the scenes that I really liked this second time watching the movie is the scene with Druig and Phastos. And I never really understood the reasoning for it. Like the actual weight of it, where, Druig and Phastos hug it out. Because it's like you have the scene where Druig is like saying it's your fault that these people are killing each other at the very beginning, and then he's like, yeah, Druig was right, and then he's like, they're lucky to have you, man. Like,
that is a nice,
all that type of stuff. That was really cool.
A nice scene of not redemption, but acceptance.
Yeah. Also, one other thing too, I just seen it. It was the one thing I have not said from my notes, and I feel like I have to say it. The part where Druig's like, you have to do this. I can't do it anymore. makes no sense. It's just that he's not the main protagonist. Like,
Yeah.
just give me a better reason. Like, have him be more injured or something, right? Like, he barely comes and saves her, and then he's like, he falls to the ground, and she's like, oh, Druig, and he's like, I can't do it anymore. You have to do this. Like, he's fucking fine. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. How did he not die? I don't know. He got chucked from like fucking hundreds of feet and then lasered into the ground. But those laser beams are just not OP, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Icarus DBZ'd him. You know what I mean? That was a DBZ laser into the ground.
That was
Pretty
awesome.
cool. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
As much as I hate on Icarus, that was pretty cool.
He could have just joined with the Unimind, or like not even the Unimind. It was like
the brainstorm.
Tiamat.
The brainstorm.
He would have been able to do it. It's just that he's not the main protagonist, and I think that's lame. Give me a better reason.
I will say, we talked about this scene a little bit earlier. I think it's... I thought it was... the Icarus flying into the sun was a little much for me. I think that's a little too on the nose. It's like...
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a story that Sprite made up, and then he just decides, you know what, that'll be funny, LOL, Keck W, why don't I fly into the sun?
Flying too close to the sun, Keck W.
I don't know.
It doesn't feel earned.
No. Well, and it's like, why did he feel the need to do that?
Yeah, it's weird.
They could have had audio. Yeah, they could have audio of like, or like other flashback scenes there instead, where he's just like cut from like him, or even like the scene of like him leaving because he feels like he can't tell her or something. Like if they would have shot that scene,
right,
and then like him killing Ajax and like shit like that.
Yeah, I guess the guilt of killing Ajax would be like the number one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that Cersei probably isn't gonna see him the same way.
Yeah, I don't know if Cersei's gonna bang him again. I think that ship is...
Well, not with Jon Snow walking around, dude.
No.
Fucking definitely not.
You
We'll
get
talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
I see it as kind of like him almost being inspired in a really sick and twisted way by by
I flew too close to the
story.
sun, huh? Let me show you. You know, like I don't know.
Or I don't know about that, but just kind of like being like...
It's too meta.
I think it's a little too meta. I think you're right. I think it's
trying too hard to be poetic.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a couple notes. I'm gonna blast through really, really quickly.
No, you're fine. You take your time. There's no time limit on this podcast.
No.
So right off the bat, I loved like the opening text crawl. It makes it feel really big. I love that it's like talking about
too.
Before the singularities and shit. Like it's just it already just establishes this massive universe that the Marvel the Marvel movies take place in, and I love the opening crawl. I really love the music in this movie, especially their theme that plays. It's not my favorite Marvel score, but I really love the
ironically the same composer that composed Iron Man.
Yes.
Yep. And Game of Thrones, but
yes, and Game of Thrones. And
I do have one point now that you mentioned the music thing. I do, I get Crow was a lame villain, but I do like in the score the noise that plays when he shows up. I think that's really cool. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. I really like Dane as a character, and I think that his inherent optimism is a really nice foil to how Icarus views the world, and I think Dane makes a lot more sense as a romantic partner for Cersei. They definitely, I think they have way more chemistry than Cersei and Icarus do.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And I was disappointed with how little he was in the movie, but obviously they're setting him up for it, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
I love that Dane feels like a character that lives in the Marvel universe and isn't dumb. He's like, "Are you a wizard?" Like, like you do these. He's like, "Sometimes my water turns into coffee when the waiter takes too long or whatever."
Yeah, I do actually, I said this off before we start recording, but I do like that we're in this, so many of these movies have happened in this universe now where like people can say outlandish things. You like, hey, I'm an Eternal. I've been around since the beginning of time. And you have to like take it at least somewhat seriously.
Yeah.
As a person living in this world, you know? Because one of my least favorite tropes is I don't believe you, even if there's like, because that's unbelievable. But now it's like, because so many things have happened in this world, anything's believable to people. And I actually, I'm glad that we've skipped that. We no longer have to do that thing where well, you're not really a Norse god,
prove it to
Thor.
me.
You know, like that shit. I hate that shit in movies, so I'm glad we're
Stick
past
to
that.
the ceiling, you know that. No,
No, that's the only way it's good.
Yeah, stick to the
no,
ceiling
that scene was
good.
awesome. That was hilarious. I like that, and I actually think this is a really neat little bit of foreshadowing that I picked up watching the movie again. When they fight the deviant in London, it heals itself with specifically Ajax's powers, and this is before we know that Ajax is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's right after we see that opening fight sequence where Ajax does use her powers.
Yeah.
So I think it's
yeah.
just lined up well that you see Ajax use her powers, and then a couple scenes later you see the deviant heal itself with Ajax with something that is identical to Ajax's powers. So I thought that was a very
No, that's
nice
cool.
little
You're right. You're right.
bit of foreshadowing. And I just have two more. I loved how when they go to get Kingo and they're like, Ajax is dead. Karun is like, I know where this is going. And he goes and gathers the entire cast to give a pep talk to Kingo. He's like, they're going to ask him to go with them, and he's going to refuse. I've been with him for 50 years.
Right.
Tried to stab him with a wooden stake. So I need to give him this pep talk or whatever. So I think that's funny.
He said, I've apologized a million times.
Yeah. Not quite enough, I don't think. And I love the use of, I don't know what the song is called, but like the End of the World song.
I did like that part. Yeah.
Right after
they know it's the end of the world. Yeah.
And he's like tucking his kid in and stuff. Like, I think that was all very effective.
Yeah.
And those are all my notes.
Okay. So, guys, now that we've covered this movie for way longer than I think any of us expected to, it is like a 3.5 hour movie. Where are we putting it?
It feels like it.
We ranked it C, the top of C tier last time. And by we, I mean Jason ranked it the top of C tier.
It's still C tier to me.
Still a C tier movie to you. Sean, what say you?
Obvious, if this was my tier list, it would look very different. But I think somewhere high in C is fair. I think I would put it low B, just because even though it doesn't nail every execution, I think that it is the most ambitious Marvel movie they've done so far, and I think it has some of the best ideas in a Marvel movie so far that I really click with. And I'm somebody who I'm very much, if I connect with characters, then I'm set. I don't really need a whole ton in terms of the plot and the action or whatever, as long as I really enjoy all the characters, and I love every single one of the Eternals in this movie. So for me, I think somewhere low B is where I would put it with how you guys are feeling, but I understand C, I think, from what you guys have said.
Yeah, I think top of C is where I would put it. And I also think that I enjoy this movie less and less as more come out. I think once the second Eternals, or whatever the sequel comes out, I think I will like that movie more than this one, because I think that the interplanetary shit is the coolest part of the Eternals, and you really only get a glimpse of it in this.
It's a lot of setup.
Yeah. And I think that's fine. It's the first movie. But I just think it's one of those things where I think it's a top of C tier movie, and I think I'm gonna like it less and less as more stuff comes out that just does it but better.
All right, so I haven't revealed overall how I feel about this movie throughout this whole time.
That's true.
And so let me say, I enjoyed this movie watching it. I definitely don't think it's a bad movie. I think it has some very good parts. I think it has some really cool ideas. But I also think it has some very poorly executed parts and some bad ideas. I'm pretty, to be honest with you guys, I'm pretty neutral on it. I watched it and I was like, huh. And I thought about it as, when I went to bed last night, I was thinking about the movie because I knew we were going to talk about it today. And I think I'd think a little higher of it if I saw it in theaters.
Probably.
Because I think it's a big spectacle kind of movie that you want to see on the big screen. And I did not do that, unfortunately. But I also think, I'm not a very critical person by nature. It takes a lot to take me out of a movie where I go, oh, what the fuck? But I think there are multiple things in this movie that made me go, huh? and
Yeah.
and
Especially Crow, who I only knew his name because of the subtitles.
yeah, exactly.
Fucking oh yeah.
So I'm gonna agree with Jason that this is a top of C tier movie.
Like,
I know that's kind of boring to put it in the
same.
same spot that we had it, but it's definitely not better than that to me, and it's definitely not worse than that.
Yeah.
Was it top of
It's
C
a Marvel
before?
movie.
It was top of C.
Okay, I thought it was
bottom of
C
B,
for
and then
some reason.
Jason moved it to top of C the more he
Okay.
thought about it because he
Yeah.
was mad. He was mad about Crow.
Yeah.
Fair.
Well, and it made less sense. Like, him fighting them made even less sense when I watched it the first time. Because I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Like, he has all of Ajax's memories. How does he not understand that they're trying to stop the Celestial? And why is he trying to not stop the Celestial? To me, would make more sense if he's trying to kill Icarus.
Yeah.
Especially because Icarus probably has killed the most out of any of them, right? Like,
Yeah,
should
yeah.
probably want to kill Icarus. And then...
Yeah, but then Fina doesn't get her closure.
Right.
You know
I
what?
get why from like a big picture thing, but for his character to do that doesn't really make a lot of sense. The only thing I can really take from it is that, like, okay, he's literally the last deviant. So that's why he's like, fuck it, I'm going scorched earth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to try and fucking kill everybody. Like,
Who cares if everyone dies, you know?
If I die, if everybody dies, who gives a fuck, dude? I just want my revenge. You know, like, I could get that, but like, it's not done very well. And yeah, that part was fucking stupid.
It reminds me of the bit in The Rise of Skywalker where Hux is like, I don't care if the rebellion wins. I just want Kylo Ren to lose. Like, that kind of really
that's
bullshit.
How it feels.
Like,
it's so stupid.
Exactly, yeah.
I agree. So I think, you know, what we're taking Sean's input into account, but I think me and Jason outvoted you a little bit here, and we're gonna go top of C.
And like I said, I kind of agree for how you guys seem to feel about it based off our conversation. I feel like that's definitely the right place for you guys.
Yeah, agreed. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sean, thanks for being on this podcast. Why don't you tell the fun people at home?
Are we not going to talk about the post credits?
Sean, we do it after.
Do we?
We do it after.
I've missed those. I've missed the post credits discussions before.
Oh my god!
I have to go back and listen.
Back and watch because we do it after the credits. You dummy!
I didn't know that.
That's the part.
I've been like, why is there so much time after Mike exits the podcast?
Everybody who listens to this podcast is now like, what? There's more? Oh man.
See, I don't know what Mike left in and cut out. I thought maybe he made it obvious the first episode, but I don't know.
Well, it does like the outro, and then it like the music plays because the song's only like it's like less than 2 minutes long, and then we talk, and then the song plays again.
2 minutes is a long time, Mike.
Yeah,
I don't listen to outro music for 2 minutes. I'm out of there. I'm out of there after 10.
Dude, I just watched the fucking Batman and sat there for fucking 10 minutes while I was about to piss myself for it to say goodbye in Riddler speak, okay? I don't want to hear it about your 2 minutes. Anyway, Sean, tell everybody where they can find you, and then we'll talk about the post-credits scene.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Sean_AFK. I post everything that I do on there. And you can also find me hanging out with my Gonbu Mike when the next season of Squid Game comes out, whenever that is.
Gonbus for life.
As the Squid Boys return.
Yeah.
To discuss more of that.
Squid Boys will return. I'm going to put that at the end of this episode.
In Riddler text.
In Riddler text after 10 minutes. Join us next month as we will do Doctor Strange, and I don't want to promise anything, but we're gonna try to do WandaVision next month too before Multiverse of Madness comes out. So
yes, leading into the fucking Doctor Strange movie. I'm so hyped
Doctor Strange
for it.
in May. So that's what we're gonna try to do. We'll see if we actually complete that or not. We're at least gonna do Doctor Strange, but we're gonna do our best to get WandaVision in there. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Is that normally how we do the end of this?
No, I say Excelsior.
Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Now fuck off.
So let's talk about the first post-credit scene, the mid-credit scene, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have.
It's not mid.
It's not mid. We
But
have
it's the mid-credit scene.
Thena and Makari and Druig on the ship, and they're like, "Yo, we gotta." They haven't got our family hasn't gotten back to us. They must have got abducted by Aristotle or whatever his name is, and
Aristotle. No, Aristotle's right.
Yeah, Aristotle. And they go, well, we gotta find him. Maybe da, da, da. And then this little like creature named Pip,
a drunken
Patton Oswalt, baby,
voiced by Patton Oswalt, shows up, and he gives this big introduction for Eros, as played by Harry Styles. And Eros is an Eternal and the brother of Thanos, and a number of things. He's also very good looking, Harry Styles. Shout outs to him. And he shows up and he goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna help you guys. I know where your friends are." And he smiles real big for the camera because he looks like $1 million, because of course he does. And that's that scene.
It's so perfect. He's such perfect casting. For people who don't know about Star Fox, the big defining thing that I would say about his power set that makes Harry Styles perfect casting is he has like control of other people's emotions. He can influence other people's emotions and make them fall in love with him and like make them hate each other. Like,
I think he did that to me.
Yeah, he having a very attractive rock star play a character that is kind of yikes in the comics a lot and does a lot of like, is that okay kind of stuff. I think is perfect casting because you look at him and you're like, you're such a fucking smug bastard, and I love it.
Okay.
Honestly, I felt like he was straight up better looking when I saw it the first time, dude. I remember Harry Styles just looking like God damn, okay. But then when I watched it earlier today, I was like, it's not really hitting for me as much, dude.
Okay.
When he's not as big, it doesn't work for you, huh?
It's not really hitting right now, dude.
I don't know, Jason. Hold on, Jason. Take another look at him really quickly. What is that?
I don't know, dude. He's just not really doing it for me right now, dude. I was kind of disappointed, dude.
So let's talk about the post-credit scene, and then I have a gripe to make about both scenes that I'm going to say to you guys. Okay.
Okay.
So we have a scene where Dane Whitman, played by Kit Harington, also known as Jon Snow, is standing in front of a large box, and he's like nervous to open it. And this is obviously after Cersei was taken away, and he goes, I gotta do it. And he opens the box, and there's a sword in there, the ebony blade, if you will.
Yes.
And it's got all the cool like papers around it and all that stuff, and he's getting ready to touch it, and there's like this weird effect on the sword, like going towards his finger, and then we hear from off screen, "Are you sure you're ready to do that, Mr. Whitman?" or something like that.
Yeah.
Along those lines, and it is the voice.
You sure you're ready for that?
Of shit. Why is his name escaping me?
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali, who is going to be Blade.
Yes.
Has been announced as Blade. The undead vampire hunter himself, Blade. So that's cool, right? These are cool post-credit scenes. They're much better than Spider-Man's, you know. And
they both set up like
much better than Hawkeye's. So here's the thing. They're setting up other things. They're setting up cool characters from the comics, which I like. But the whole time I'm watching Eternals, okay, I remember when they announced the cast of this movie, and Kit Harington was in there.
Yeah.
And everybody made a huge deal. Well, who's Kit Harington playing? You know, yo, Jon Snow's in Eternals. You know, everybody's freaking out about it. And then he's barely in this movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, I don't know a lot about Dane Whitman as a character. He's a character from the comics, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I personally don't know anything about that. So I'm watching this movie, and I'm like, man, they really hyped up Kit Harington being in this movie. And he's not doing anything. She had the one FaceTime with him, you know, and she's like, you should really consider hitting up your uncle and patching things up with him. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, what was that?
What does that mean?
that?
Where's my? I need a comic book nerd right now.
So, but I didn't look it up. I was just like, no, I'm just gonna keep watching. And then at the end, he's like, yo, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, oh God, what are we doing here, right? So, and then you throw in, he's the final post-credit scene, and Harry Styles is the mid. And I'm like, are we now to the point with these post-credit scenes where we're just showing you an actor that you like or would be hype about, and going, hey, by the way, there's an actor that you like. He's gonna be in movies now.
I mean, that's pretty much what they've always been. I feel like
no,
it's just like
to me, it's always been about the character. It's always been about like I didn't see Thanos and go, oh shit, that's fucking the guy that played W. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. Like,
oh, I get what you're saying.
Like,
it's about showing the actor. I was thinking you were talking about the character.
Right. Now it's about the actor, where it's like, okay, that's Harry Styles. Like, that pop was for Harry Styles. Like, if people are excited about that.
That's true.
It's not because they were like Star Fox.
They're not like,
Harry
yo,
Styles.
Eros.
And then Kit Harington, it's like, oh, it's Jon Snow. He's going to have a sword. That's fucking sick. Like, that's what bothers me a little bit about these post-credit scenes is, like, I'm not saying I needed, Kit Harington to be in the movie more and like,
I am the Black Knight or whatever,
or like look at a sword and go, next time, and walk away.
Next time, baby. Yeah.
Like, I don't need that. I don't need like a B story about how they get powers and they're useless like in WandaVision. I just don't. I did the whole. It feels like stunt casting almost, right?
So, I see your point. No, I see your point. What I really love about these post-credit scenes is, to me, they feel very nostalgic to early Marvel. That early Marvel, they were setting up these characters, and us as nerds are like, fucking yeah, I know what they're hinting at here or whatever. But there was a very large general audience that had this idea of like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Where's my nerd comic friend who's going to explain this shit to me? And now we're getting to the point where a lot of the nerds are also like, what the fuck is going on? I need an even bigger nerd to explain this to me.
Maybe that's got no problem with it.
But I think that's super cool.
Mike's just mad he doesn't know.
But like, you just don't have the proper context, dude. But it's just like, I love this idea of that we're kind of going back to like, here's a fucking thing that doesn't make any sense unless you know, and there's gonna people online are gonna tell you what's going on. Like, we know that. It feels very nostalgic to early Marvel instead of how Marvel post-credit scenes became for a while because we had this big interconnected universe that we had built up. Here's a character that you already know. Oh shit, it's Doctor Strange from the other movie showing up in the post-credits scenes. I like that we're back to like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, who? Where's
for sure.
Where's the explained video? It feels very nostalgic.
Okay, I didn't.
And I think it's just because of that's who the actors are. You know what I mean?
I think it's because they were bigger actors to people, and I think that's why I felt that way. I guess
I understand.
Because, Harry Styles
I don't
is
think
one of
you're
the
wrong.
most popular people in the fucking world. Right. Like, he's just, like Tara had a moment where she was like, literally just watching Harry Styles TikToks from him on, and every day would be a different show from his tour where he did something crazy, and he sang a song about a banana. Oh, guess what? He the next city he was in, he sang the banana song again, even though the girl in the banana suit wasn't there. Like it was just like this thing, and he's like so huge. And then like, Game of Thrones was such a big thing, and Jon Snow was such a big thing as part of Game of Thrones, right? And so, I think that's probably why I felt that way. But I wondered what you guys felt about it.
I mean, that's pretty much that's pretty much what I feel like would have happened with a lot of people in the Iron Man 1, where like it's like, oh my god, it's Samuel L. Jackson. You know what I mean?
I guess the difference for me is that I was like, that's Nick Fury.
Exactly. Now you need the even bigger nerd online. I mean, I didn't know who the fuck Star Fox was when I watched this movie. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I'm at that point too, where I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
I'm trying to think of a post-credit sequence from early Marvel where they reveal the character like that, but I can't think of anything other than Nick Fury and Thanos.
I think the change here is that they are so much more confident in what they're doing that they can afford to cast the actors so far in advance.
Like, okay,
I
this
think
would be
if
the
they could have
equivalent. This would be like if they were like, if at the end of like, I don't know, a Phase 2 Marvel movie or a Phase 1 Marvel movie, and Chris Pratt wasn't as big of a deal then as, you know what I mean? But if he was just like, hey, it's me, Star-Lord, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and they didn't do that.
No,
You know what I mean?
I think that's fair, but I also think I think Star Fox coming in this way really fits that character. And I mean, they don't show us Blade. Blade just speaks from off screen.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I do think
that was the whole reason they announced him as Blade, right? That was
100%.
That was when they had him come out and go, "We're making Blade, and here's Blade," and it's that actor, and he's like, "Hey, it's me, Blade." Like,
yeah,
they wanted us to go, "Oh, that's Blade," when we hear his voice, right?
100%. And I think it worked out against them that it took so long, because then they also introduced Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher in What If, because What If was initially going to come out after this movie, but with all the delays. And so people in theaters really thought it was Jeffrey Wright's voice because they had just seen yeah. I was like, I think at first, I knew it was Blade. I knew it was Blade immediately. But I had my friend, I was like, dude, that was Blade. And he was like, that was the Watcher at the same time. And we were like, what? What are you talking about? So, and I saw a lot of people online saying that as well. But
that would be so weird
I think
if
it
it was
fits.
the Watcher.
It would have been very weird.
That would make no sense.
But we were just coming out of What If at that point.
Yeah,
there's I was looking because I don't remember a ton of the post credit scenes, and that's why I'm like really excited to be doing going through all the Marvel movies, because it's just like there's just been so many, and like a lot of them were like coming out when I'm like a fucking teenager and shit, so I just don't remember that shit, right? But there is the Winter Soldier post credit scene is Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's pretty similar, where it's like,
no, I agree.
Neither of these actors, at least for me, were like something where I would have just known.
I don't think those actors were very big then, right? I mean, they were definitely. I think Elizabeth Olsen was more known just for being a sister to the Olsen.
Yeah,
right?
an Olsen, yeah.
And then what's his face? He wasn't really doing anything. You know, he's just a guy. But that's a good. Okay, I have a list of post credit scenes right now that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, I feel like Eros' introduction, to kind of flaunt Harry Styles, makes sense for introducing a character like Eros, who's all up his own ass and very obsessed with how awesome he is. And I mean, honestly, for the general audience, they didn't know what the fuck was happening during the Dane Whitman one. We knew that was Blade because we knew that Blade was coming. But the general audience doesn't know that. The general audience doesn't know that this massive slate of movies that are coming out until the trailers come out. And even then, I just had to sit my mom down the other day and be like, this is what's coming, of the trailers that we have not released. Not even beyond that, the 6 movies we have announced and 17 shows past that, just being like, so Moon Knight's gonna air here, and then Doctor Strange is gonna come out, and then we're gonna have Miss Marvel. Even explaining that to her when those are all in marketing stages already was still a lot.
I mean, the other one that I feel like is similar is the Captain Marvel one, which is boom, it's Captain Marvel, it's at the end of her own movie or whatever, right? But it's just
that was
yo,
a
it's the Avengers, and then boom, now Captain Marvel's here, but she's gonna not be here later, but then she's gonna come back, and it's gonna be epic.
Well, that was the whole way that played out. Was she came to them, they were like, this shit got fucked up, and then she went and found Tony and brought them back, and then they went and killed Thanos, and then it was the 5 years. I think that tracks. I think that whole timeline plays out fine.
No, yeah, it definitely does. No, but to start, you're like, wait, what the fuck? Where is she?
Well, I mean, she's there at the beginning, and it's after the 5-year time jump that she's gone.
That's true.
Because at the beginning, she kind of has that dick measuring contest with Thor, and Thor's like, I like you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so the only other one after veering through these that I found is in Thor: The Dark World. Lady Sif and Volstagg give the Aether to the Collector.
Oh yeah.
And that's the first time we see the Collector.
And then there's Adam Warlock.
That was good. You fucking. Finally, we're gonna get something with that in a year. It's only been 5 years since that post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Holy shit. That's
I
fucking
forgot
nuts.
about the Adam Warlock one. Holy shit.
Well, because originally fucking James Gunn wasn't gonna get fired, and they were gonna be able to do stuff with that sooner.
Right.
But he got
Yeah.
fired, and DC was like, "You don't want him? We'll take him."
And then they're like, wait, we want him.
Wait.
We want him
It's
back.
like, it's too late.
Let him come back.
He's got to make
He's
an
doing
awesome
the
movie,
Suicide Squad.
and an awesome TV show.
Anyway, that's what we think of the
Yeah.
post-credit scenes. Anybody have anything else to add? They're good. Blade
they're
is
good.
here, and
Yeah.
Harry Styles.
Dude,
And I guess my complaint about the Kit Harington one isn't like super good because it's not him that they're revealing; it's Blade they're revealing, right? I mean, they're kind of
I
they
think
kind of
so.
hinted that there's more to him, and then he's revealing, "Hey, I have this sword, right? It was my uncle's sword." But yeah,
like some
okay.
weird symbiote shit going on.
Right, it was weird. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. If you actually know that these post-credits things exist, unlike Shawn.
If you just realized this first time, dude,
Go back and
welcome.
watch the other ones. Except I don't
Dude,
think
it's
the first...
like 2 minutes of music. That's so long to wait without any idea.
Dude,
Like,
tell that to fucking DC when they make me sit through fucking... I'm pissing my pants
yeah,
waiting for
but
the
you
Riddler
know
to
at
say
that
goodbye.
point that they're gonna do.
No, my sister punked me. She was like, there's something at the end. And I go, what is it? She goes, I don't know. I didn't stay last time. So we sat there, and I'm like, my legs are shaking. My fucking stomach hurts because I have to pee so bad.
It's got a vein bulging out of
And
his fucking
Oh my
I
forehead.
could have
God.
went and peed and came back, but I didn't. Because I was
You
like, what if the
could've.
credits are shorter than I thought? And then we get to the end, and it's like, something in the way. And then it's like, fucking, beep, goodbye. Boop. And I'm like, fuck! The
Dude,
Riddler.
that's fucking... Spoiler.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Say a minute. Must.